And the topic of this keynote speech is Forensic Investigation of Election-Related Crime, the Nigerian Perspective. Dr. Alaye, we are ready for you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Fully in and.
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I want to thank the organizing committee, that is the Forensic Investigation Society Nigeria, the presidents, the vice presidents, who also my colleague of so many years. We've worked in the same university for several years. We've come a long way. And I'm talking of Dr. Lydia Chineyemba. I was so glad to hear that she's now the current vice president. Above all, she is my birthday mate. Our birthday comes 7th of February, in another one, 7th of April, I beg your pardon, in another 1 week. So please note that, and we shall be expecting.
Good to have you, Dr. Alaye.
Good
to have you, Dr. Alaye. Happy birthday in advance.
Same to you, my dear sister. So without wasting much time, this is an interesting topic. I will differ a little bit from the anchor when she said, of course, I understand we have to be modest with this discussion. We don't need to be politically sympathetic, nor criticize or bring up issues that appear to be too political. However, my dear Ankoma, there is practically no way you can discuss a topic, a very critical topic of this kind, with completely in variance with political issues. Though I understand that we've got to be modest, but notwithstanding, we cannot completely isolate ourselves from several political issues, because the topic here is political. So, yeah, forensic investigations of election-related crimes, the Nigerian perspective. That's the topic I have here. I'm going to limit the entire discussion to the Fourth Republic, because if we must discuss everything holistically, then it means we have to go by Istokun thematic analysis of looking at how Nigeria has moved from the First Republic to the Second Republic. The First Republic of 1960 truncated on the 15th of January 1966 by the first military coup, then to the Second Republic of the 1st of October 1979, which was the very first time that Nigeria had the presidential system of government, of which it was a sharp contrast to the First Republic, which was parliamentary system of government. And the Third Republic, of course, the Third Republic was, in political science, we refer to the Third Republic as an act of diarchism. We call it diarchism because it was a combination of both the military and civilian personality. Babangida representing civilian personality, and representing military personality, and we have the senates and the members of the Federal Representative Council. So, unfortunately, it was an aborted republic. We call it aborted republic because it didn't last long, and there were lots of crises, there were a lot of political issues, there were a lot of conflicts, which snowballed to the June 12th crisis. And with that, it became aborted. And of course, we had the interim government, which in any case cannot really be referred to a constitutionally elected government, as it were. But then it was a government of circumstance. Apparently, the military came back again through Abacha and blah blah by the 29th of May 1999, after Abdulsalami ruled, took up the transition after, shortly after the death of Abacha. Then we moved to the Fourth Republic. This narrative is very pertinent so that we will understand the background to what is called electoral process, or what is called democratic process in Nigeria. Forensic investigation contextually can be defined as the process taken to identify fraudulent activities or irregularities during electoral process. Contextually, it is defined as the process taken to identify fraudulent activities or irregularities during electoral process. And you will ask, why does it become imperative? Why is it pertinent? Or what makes it very crucial to subject an electoral process to a forensic investigation? It is no more than the fact that several electoral processes have often been marred with a lot of irregularities, especially when we come to some of the global south. What we call global south, we refer to developing countries, including Nigeria, especially when we come to African country. A lot of electoral process, a lot of electoral irregularities are often big issues, and they have really affected or taken or given our democracy a very bad name in the global community. Though, for the first time, such thing also happened in the global north in 2019 during the first time of President Donald Trump. Then there were a lot of political shenanigans then. But like I've always said to people, Donald Trump is a different president entirely when you talk about the historic democratic process of the United States. So let me go into that anyway. But what am I saying? Nigeria, in a perspective now, is that we shouldn't be talking about election-related crimes, or we should not be talking about forensic investigation of election-related crimes if we have had a very smooth, such a selfless, altruistic, ideal, and technically structured electoral process. But because of some of these challenges, because of some of these electoral pitfalls, it becomes very sacrosanct to have forensic investigation. But after forensic investigation, how do we achieve the forensic investigation of election-related crimes in Nigeria? Because it is not the case that we have not been having some kind of investigations after the election, as the 2027 elections. I can assure you, after the election, there will be litigations. That has been the narratives. To every election, there must be litigation. To every election, there must be litigation. It is only in Nigeria that I will see an opponent not congratulating his fellow contestant who wins election is only in Nigeria. Though it happens, so very peculiar to developing countries, but that of Nigeria is very, very common. As I speak here today, there is the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alaye, till today has never congratulated President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the incumbent president. Till today, the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, in person of Mr. Peter Obi, has never congratulated the incumbent president of the Federal Republic, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Why? They will give you the reason that the election was not free and fair. They will tell you that their mandate was stolen. So for how long shall we continue to dwell in electoral fraud? For how long shall we continue to have these same challenges? This is a very germane topic. In fact, I must appreciate those that organize this workshop. But it's just funny. I've shared this thing on Facebook. I've shared it on the, what's it called, on all my status. But Nigerians, we are very funny people. We don't quest for knowledge. We are not always interested in things that are very educative, except very such inconsequential things that will not be of any benefit. That is what social media is. I mean, because this is such an educative program, educative workshop, that in fact I ought to have seen. I mean, this workshop filled to the brim, but I'm still very scanty numbers. Anyway, that is just the peculiarity of Nigeria and Nigerians. So, forensic investigations, how do we carry out forensic investigation? Right? It is a very simple thing. We classify this, we channel this into three major categories. Forensic investigations of electoral-related crimes can be addressed through three major categories and variables. One, voters' trusts. Voters' trust. Forensic investigators must ensure the trust of the voters, the trust that the voters have for a particular electoral process is taken into due cognizance. Do voters, how long, to what extent have Nigerians ever been so much trusted the electoral process of Nigeria? How much of trust do Nigerian voters have in the Nigeria's electoral process? That is number one. The second variable, which is also very important, is the participations of citizens. Part of the problem in Nigeria electoral process today is what we call apathy. There is high level of apathy. There is high level of indifference. A lot of people are not just interested in the electoral process of the electoral process that usher in their representatives. They are not interested. They don't want to know. Just announce the leader. Just announce the winner and let the winner start ruling. You are more or less shooting yourself in the foot. Now, it's high time Nigerians are duly involved. It is high time and every Nigeria is involved in the electoral process. You are not just involved. When I say involved, it does not mean you should just voting alone. No. Voting during election is just one out of it. part of your involvement includes monitoring the electoral process. Monitoring the electoral process. Being a watchdog. An average Nigerian voter must remain a watchdog. What do I mean as a watchdog? You must watch. You must be very watchful. You must be very inquisitive. You must be very curious with the process. That is when you can say you have satisfied your conscience. That is when you can say you have duly involved in the electoral process. Then the very third thing, which is also very important when forensic investigation of election-related crimes is being taken into cognizance, is the occurrence of the electoral malpractices. The occurrence of electoral malpractices. A lot of people have been talking about this new electoral law, talking about instant what was even what generated, there was something that generated a controversy recently in the electoral law about the transmission of of result. That is, they want instant transmission of the results. Fine. Instant transmission of results is also a very good thing. It's also a very sacrosanct, it's part of the sacrosanct steps that make an election a very free and fair. But that is not all. That is not all. Another very crucial thing that an average Nigerian and that we as entire voters must put into cognizance is the process put in place, strategies put in place to tackle vote buying. What are the roles? What roles are individual Nigerians, including myself, including you? What strategy? How do you assist? How do you help in tackling vote buying? How do you help in tackling rigging? How do you help in curbing political violence? One of my one of my publications, so maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, you can Google it, Adekunle on political violence and elections and political violence in Nigeria. You can Google it online. Yeah, there I was talking about a society weaponized with poverty cannot or may find it very difficult to tackle electoral fraud. However, this can also be achieved if individuals can differentiate between integrity and poverty. I know that any society weaponized with poverty would wriggle around electoral fraud. However, as individual Nigerians, individual voters, individual electors that knows their onions and can boast of that, and that knows what they want for themselves, and that's patriotic, because it is anti-patriotic. It is anti-patriotic.
So sorry to cut you short. You should be rounding off now, sir.
Oh, well, it's so unfortunate, like I told Mr. Olomo, that discussing the topic of this kind within 20 minutes is quite a no-no for me. But then, well, yeah, let me just quickly move to
We are going to have like 10 minutes discussion for those who might have questions.
Okay then. You said I have how many minutes more?
3 minutes more.
Okay, let me quickly go to my concluding parts then. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Corruption is a major issue when we talk about having a practical, free and fair election. And of course, unfortunately, it still remains the middle limb of Nigeria today until we can really surmount it. And how do we achieve that? We can only do this with a collective effort and putting all hands on desk and ensuring that this country belongs to us and not just to politicians, political class, as it were. I give very three recommendations to just wrap up my presentation. Number one, government at all levels must prioritize what issues are most important in the fight against election-related crimes. Of course, I heard recently that they have just sent in the state police, what's it called? State police scheme. That is, the state police act. They want to have state policing across all the countries. It's a very good thing if we can manage it very effectively. If it will not also be personalized or it will not be used for political interest, because most of the Western world, including Germany, US, and what have you, they all have their state policing, and of course, individual state police, state from in Florida cannot perform the roles of a state in Maryland, and they also have a very central police force. So it is all about terms and conditions. And the second thing is what was noted by Dyke 2002, that the general populace needs to be reoriented. That is my fear, and that is exactly my concern too. The Nigerians have very poor orientations about electoral process. We actually do not understand. Some people don't even know why they need to take part in the election. Some people don't even know. Some people don't even. Some are not. Ask some people who is the chairman of your local government. They don't even know. Ask some people who is the representatives of your constituency. They are not interested. It's only the president. Once they know about the president of Nigeria, they know about their governor. They are no longer interested. That's part of the ignorance that really kills the nascent democracy, that kills and contributes so immensely to electoral fraud. Because you can imagine somebody who does not know is or her left from right and just get to the polling booth. Mama, please vote this person, because he doesn't know. He just come out to, or she just come out to do something. He does not even understand the exercise as a whole. So how do you expect? So I think this is why NOA need to come in. There must be more and intensive political orientation. Then lastly, reorienting Nigerian youth towards a strong value system could aid in the fight. Fight against, because Nigerians youth have more than 60% of the population. So you cannot talk of the electoral process in Nigeria, or you cannot talk of tackling electoral fraud or tackling election-related crimes in Nigeria without taking very critically the roles of Nigerian youth. So with all these major recommendations, I think we can have a better election, and we can have free and fair election, and we can have better election so far in Nigeria, and we will be able to elect our representatives. I actually prepared something of over 1 hour, but as it were, maybe in the course of the question, I will be able to touch some few things. Thank you very much as I wrap up. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adekunle Alaye. For those who joined later in, Dr. Adekunle Alaye is a fellow of the Forensic Investigator Society. He's also a fellow of the Council of Development of Social Science Research in Africa, CODESRIA. He's a lecturer at the Department of Political Science, Olabisi Onabanjo University.
However, I am currently in Germany at the moment at Humboldt University on a special academic research.
Oh, so great. I was going to
So
say that because Nigeria is currently hot, so I was wondering why you are putting on a sweatshirt. It's
probably
very
I
hot in
probably
Nigeria.
probably I in job. I could be in job.
Ah, I believe Jos will be hot as well. If this side can be
Really?
this hot, the West can be this hot. I
Mm.
know Jos will be very hot at this time. Thank you so much, sir. So, do we have questions, observations, comments that we would love Dr.
Yeah.
Adekunle Alaye to shed more light on?
Yes, a very beautiful lecture.
Okay. All right. Dr. Abraham
Olusholani on the line.
Olusholani.
Dr. Olusholani on the line. Yes. The first issue is with how do we develop voters' trust, knowing that the mindset of an average Nigerian is to get something, gratification from election activities. And second,
Okay,
hello,
go
sir.
on. Go on, please. Yeah.
Okay. And secondly, so that I can give others the issue of having groups, CDAs, youth groups, and all that. How do we mobilize them in the Nigerian context, especially when the issue of religion diversities, ethnic diversities are there, and the politicians take advantage of this to divide the people the more. So those are the two issues I want you to help us with.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Abubakar Muhammad, please ask your question so that
Okay, thank
doctor
you.
can answer everything possible.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, doctor, for this presentation. My question is just wanted to tap from the experience and the knowledge of Dr. Sir regarding the electoral process in Nigeria. So my question goes this way. Has there been any history of application of forensic technique, maybe in detecting electoral fraud in Nigeria, like issue of maybe a disputed ballot paper or alteration of figures? Is there any history of forensic technique being applied to deal with those cases in the past? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Over to you, doctor.
Yeah, thank you. I will start with the very second question. You see, ethnicity is crucial to our contemporary democracy. And to be honest with you, like Unoli says, he says, and I quote, ethnicity is not a bad thing, but politicizing ethnicity is the big issue. Ethnicity is not a bad thing. However, politicizing ethnicity is a big issue or is the challenge. What does that mean? We are supposed to have our diverse ethnic groups, plural ethnic diversity as a plus to the growth and development of Nigeria. Rather, what we have in the case of Nigeria is that we use our ethnic colorations as a divisive strength. And that's quite a very big problem. It's happening currently in Nigeria now. We have seen an Igbo man don't want to hear anything about Tinubu. A Yoruba man don't want to hear anything about Peter Obi. The Hausa man do not want to hear anything about. You see, and it's a big problem. My dear brother, Mr. Abubakar, it is sad that forensic approach or forensic methodology may not really work when we talk about conducting investigations over crime related issues. Because to every Nigerian, you have your right to support whoever you want. To every Nigerian, it is your right to support your ethnic or whatever. But then you cannot, it is not written in Nigerian Constitution, or it is not against the Nigerian Constitution to support someone from your ethnic background. And that is where the problem is. So if I must be honest with you, the first thing to achieve in the course of this matter is not even an exercise within the effort of the forensic investigators. The National Assembly must first fashion out a particular law or an act that, if not to stop anyone promoting ethnic coloration, at least there must be a review of how to limit the ethnic consciousness of individuals when it comes to electoral process. So that may come first if we must achieve ethnic or forensic investigation or forensic conduct of any electoral process. Then I don't know if that answers your question, Mr. Abubakar. Does that answer your question?
That's Dr. Olusholani.
Yes, sir. It
Yes.
answers some part of it. What I asked was, is there any history of forensic methodology applied in solving electoral dispute?
Yeah, that's what I've just said. Well, in my literature review, in the gaps which I jumped, let me now use that. There's a way, there's a particular thing I came up with here, and I said narrow focus on the meaning of corruption. I will characterize ethnicity as an issue, as a menace. However, I have not actually had any literature to that effect, to be honest with you. And the reason may be very simple. The reason would be that because championing or coming up with such a methodology may limit the political rights or may limit the franchise of individual. It's a very sensitive thing. So whoever that wants to come up with such will have to be extra careful, not just careful, because you as a person have a particular ethnic background. So your method or your method or your theoretical framework will have to be duly looked into and will have to be very critical. So that is that. Then to the second question.
Okay. The second question.
To the second question, you are asking about the to what extent can there be voter trust, or can the voter trust be built, especially when we talked about groups. And yeah, I mentioned that in the course of my presentation. Voters' trust can be achieved if individual Nigerians are ready for the growth or are ready for the patriotic move, considering Nigeria first, and you are ready to protect your integrity. Of course, Nigeria is wielded with a lot of economic challenges, and that has always been the excuse given by people because the poverty is weaponized already. However, as individual, you must be able to establish your own integrity. Like I have said, the sensitization needs to be further strengthened. The orientation needs what's it
Hello,
called?
doctor.
Delivery of the electoral result and all whatever, then we are being narrowed. There must be proper holistic sensitization of the youth towards their voters' trust and towards their own sense of right and in the participate in the process of the election. Have I answered your question, please?
Yes, yes,
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you so
very
much, sir. Let's give Doctor a round of applause. You can just send an emoji of clapping. Thank you for that wonderful session. We wish we had enough time to for you to give us more. I know you have more to dish out, but we just have to go. And we hope to see more of you at the Forensic Investigators Society's workshop and conferences, sir. Are you giving me your word?
Sorry, the uncle. Can I say something?
I'm so sorry, sir. We can't take any more questions. We have to move on.
It's not question. It's not question.
Okay. All right. Briefly, sir, in the next 30 seconds.
Sorry, I don't know because when he was answering some question, I lost the network concerning the issue of using forensic in our electoral process or investigation in court processes. As far back as 2003 election and 2007, forensic was used, like the case of Obi and Ngige. It was based on forensic evidence, forensic evidence of the Nigeria police force that Obi came in as governor of Anambra State. Is based on the decision of the court when they took the evidence, forensic evidence of the Nigeria police force. You can Google and see it. So forensic has been used. The forensic investigators, they have been used during election tribunal as far back as 2003. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was AIG Shehu Guazo, retired. Thank you, sir, for that clarification. We appreciate you. I hope, Mr. Abubakar, your question has been answered. Let me make a
clarification there, please, Uncle.
Okay, sir.
The man was not asked, Mr. Abubakar was not asking about forensic investigation in the court of law. He was asking about forensic investigation in scholarship, in literature. And that was why I quickly responded in that act. As far as legal process is concerned, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a doctor of political science. That forensic investigation has been used as evidence, as prima facie in the court of law. That is very correct. Yes, I'm aware. In fact, not even during the Obi or whatever alone. It was also used during Buhari and Atiku's election in 2019. So it was not only in 2023, but we are not talking about the legal matter or evidence in the court of law. I guess the Mr. Abubakar was asking about if there have been some literatures, that have contextualized or that have been sacrosanctly carried out in that aspect. So let's not mix it up, sir. Thank you.
All right.